Welcome back, guys. So over our break, we had a nice, refreshing glass of water. Um, what we would like to go over a little bit more is stuff that we believe that could better us as a team over time. Any corrections that we can make, just that no other semi-pro team will be willing to do or do right now. So with that being said, we're going to jump to my recruiting stages, or our recruiting stages. I feel very strong about this, but to me, quantity is not a factor to me, it's quality. If we have a good quality team, we should be solid. I mean, the best team in the league only had like 10 or 11 players, and they just shut teams out. So, I mean, quantity is like no factor when it comes to football. It's about the quality, it's about the team plays, and anything that has to contribute to the team needs to be done. How do you guys feel? Ralph?
It's the same way. Quantity is never a replacement for quality. Never. You can have. Alright, I'll look at it this way. When you see a strong tree that's built, it's deep. The roots are deep and it will not be knocked over. It's never, the roots are never spread out wide. That, whatever makes anything that is always strong is always deep. So the deeper you build your team with deeper players, good players, you always have a strong team. You have a strong core, you have a strong team. So quality always.
I strongly agree to that. Ricardo?
I'm gonna have to agree with Andrew and Ralph on the whole quality thing, because you can't ever sacrifice quantity over quality, because quality is going to pretty much separate us from the best. So if we have more players but they're not that good, it's not going to be as good as if we had less players but they're super good players. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much where I feel about that.
Frankie?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if we could only run with 11 guys, we're going to run with those 11 guys. And in the league we're going to get into it's an 8-on-8 league, so it's not like the traditional 11 on 11 like football should be, but we're going to build it up, right?
Yep. Another thing that I feel strongly that I have a deep feel about is we have 3 practices a week, and every single practice that we have, it's blotched. We have 10 players this day, 16 players that day, 8 players, 4 players. We can't have it blotched. I feel like if we keep blotching practices, we'll never, as Ralph said, get to where what he said, the roots. We will never get a root going. The deeper the root, like he said, the worse. But that's how I feel about that. Ralph, real quick.
No, just if we can get, like you said, we can get quality players, the ones that are willing to show up, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. When they decide that they want to show up, we'll be good.
I pretty much agree with them again. As long as we don't have the same 4 or 5 people showing up practice, we'll be able to dig our roots. Because if only the same 4 and 5 people are showing up to practice, they're only bettering themselves. We're not bettering the team. So if we're not bettering the team, we're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it's nice to see more faces at practice, but they need to be consistent. And us as a team, we need consistency, absolutely. And that's on every play when we play the game. So.
All right, moving on. We're going to talk a little bit about our Dallas trip that is happening next week, of course, in Dallas. We will be playing at the Cowboy Stadium, which is super cool. This will be the Pro-Bawlers' very, very last game for flag football ever. As our team retires as a name brand for flag football, everybody came to recognize who we were. They were always scared of the name. How do you guys feel about this? Strongly, I know Ralph plays flag football. I never had the honor of having him on my team. I wish I did. Same for Kyrie. Ricardo played for our team when it was called SCU, but how do you feel as in we are now upgrading as a team? Ralph?
Oh, you're looking at him because I didn't play on the flag team. It's always good to see people making that jump from flag to tackle, because it's usually the other way around, where you have people coming out of high school or people coming out of semi-pro teams or out of Division I going to flag, and a lot of the bad habits that, I would say not bad habits, but a lot of the habits they had playing tackle, transferring over to flag doesn't really work out well. So going to flag to tackle, you can get back into what the roots of what we did growing up. Being whether it was on the sandlot or on a high school field or in a college stadium, the little stiff arms. It's always something that I enjoy seeing, because you have that extra bit of physicalness that you kind of miss during flag. So it's a step up in my opinion, and it's a good step up. So.
Ricardo?
Like Andrew said, I was only on the team when it was called SCU. I never got a chance to play on the Pro-Bawlers flag football team side of it, but I'm pretty excited to see where transferring to semi-pro is going to take us.
Frankie?
Me, I never got to play on either team, especially in the flag league. I just went straight into the hole.
I know you wanted to, though.
I do, yeah, I did.
You came up to me, you're like, hey, do you still got more of those jerseys? Can you make a special request? I'm like, oh man, no, you should have played for our team 3 years ago.
Yeah, when he was wearing his SCU Sin City Uso jersey to practice, I was like, man, I want one. It's because of the Polynesian tribals. And as you can see on our helmets, it has warrior tribals. This kind of represents the Hawaii, but I wanted that. That jersey's so bad. It was sexy.
All right, so moving on. I am proud to announce that the Las Vegas Pro-Bawlers are officially retired from flag football. It was a great time. I had learned a lot over the years. I'm really happy to say that our team went over and beyond how many wins and losses we had. We had more wins than losses. Everybody counted our team out. We almost went to 2 championships. We went to 1, lost it, but over the time, it was a great learning experience. I got the time to become an owner of a team, see how it feels. It was awesome. I still love it, and I'm proud to say that we are now going into retirement.
It's a lot of hard work to put a team together. I know. Put a team together with my brother. It's a lot of hard work. So coming from me, I appreciate everything you've done, because I know how hard it can be.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
I have to say, having played the first season as back when the Pro-Bawlers were the Sin City Usos, it's pretty interesting to see that we're about to make a huge jump in the semi-pro just from day one as a flag football team, now going into retirement and becoming a semi-pro team. It's pretty awesome to see.
I'm excited. My first season. It's my first season back after 8 years not playing football in pads. So, ever.
All right, so moving on to talk a little bit more about the team. Like we all said, we were called the Sin City Usos, SCU. We started in 2015. We were a fall team. We disappeared for about a year, or a little bit less than a year. We got asked to come join the LV Gridiron. We played in LV Gridiron. We did great. I almost set a record for most touchdowns in my division, which was beyond awesome. If anybody's going to become a quarterback or it is a quarterback, don't worry about what down it is. Don't worry about what time it is. Don't worry about what quarter you're in. The only thing you need to worry about is moving the ball, getting it downfield to the end zone. It was awesome. Back a couple seasons ago, we went 5-5 or 6-4. Beat a team first round in the playoffs that like demolished us in the beginning of the season, and it was just terrible. But we came back, just outscored them, outplayed them, outsmarted them. It was awesome. Then we became the Las Vegas Pro-Bawlers. We went all the way to the championship, first in our conference, but lost sadly in the championship. But we're here to regain ourselves. So it was awesome. It's retired. We're moving on to bigger and better things. All right. So with that, like we said, future plans. The league that we're going to be playing in is Super 8. I've watched a lot of videos. I read up about them a lot. I've contacted the owner. The owner is excited for us to be a part of their league. How do you feel about going into Super 8?
It's a bit different than when I played with the Wolverines, because it was every 8 yards for a first down. And this setup is kind of like playing PE, football in PE. You got
really?
It was every.
It was, yeah.
Oh, it was.
It was.
It was,
But
not now.
The league is different, so it's one first down for a drive is all that you have. So it's gonna take some adjustment to get used to that. But I think that we'll have a successful year. We'll have a pretty successful year.
Ricardo?
I don't really know much about Super 8, so I don't really know what to.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Pretty much. But I don't really know that much about Super 8, so I'm interested to see what this league is going to bring to the team and stuff, I guess.
Frankie?
It's gonna be my first time playing 8-on-8. When I was in high school, of course, it's 11-on-11, but geez, 50 yards.
50 yards.
I mean, I'm a smaller guy, so it doesn't really matter. So 50 yards is like 100 yards for me.
50 yards. It's like the smallest field I have ever witnessed in my. I've always wanted to play I've always wanted to play indoor football.
Oh,
now I got
really?
the chance to play indoor football.
Mm.
I'm like, oh my god, you're telling me that it's this big compared to this big? Like, it's gonna be, you're gonna want to run so much further out of bounds, and then you're gonna get smacked into the wall, and you're like, oh god, I was not expecting that. I feel like maybe this is going to be a big challenge for us. Most of us are accustomed to 11-man. Yeah. He's played 8-man before. So, I mean, it's going to be a different ball game. Like, I can't really say we're going to go all the way. I feel like we're going to have a really bad rusty part and huge egos in the first game because we got athletes, solid players, but we don't have the roots deep enough just yet. So that being said, do you guys, share the same opinion as me, or is it a different story?
I think we'll be fine. I mean, as long as we don't have the walls.
No, there's gonna be walls. Yeah.
There is.
There's
Okay.
walls. It's glass, but there's walls.
Oh. Well, we got pads on. We should be
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about them. But I'm just saying, a lot of people need to get used to it because they're gonna want to run out of bounds, and they're going to make a big deal out of it only being
fine. Right.
this compared to this.
Well, that's when push comes to shove. You put your shoulder down, you run the guy over.
Yep.
Yep.
I
You got
totally
shoulder
agree.
pads.
All right. So that being said, we are going to be playing our football games right here in Las Vegas. Yeah, Las Vegas Pro-Bawlers, of course. Also, we'll be going to San Diego. I have never been to San Diego to play a football game.
Oh,
Been there
I've
to
never
drink.
been there.
You've been there to drink.
Been there to drink.
I've never been there.
I will tell you this. I went to go watch an 8-man football game. I want to say it was about a month ago. And it was the San Diego Bulldogs. I won't forget you guys. They came out here when it was like scorching hot. It was very, very hot out here. And they're like, dude, I can't get accustomed to this. This is going to be a long, long game for me. But do you feel that we might have the same effects going to their hometown in San Diego?
Man, that's some nice weather.
Yeah,
This
because
is-
they got San Diego's pretty much by the beach. So they got the Pacific flow of the air coming into
breeze.
that cool
Yeah, yeah.
breeze.
Yeah.
We used the hot, dry air.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much gonna be like the same way they were coming out here. We're gonna be like, we can't play in this. What are we supposed to do? But we just gotta push through and get through the game.
We go through like harsher conditions here with the heat,
Yeah.
especially in the pads. So.
Oh yeah.
I think it comes down like if you were to take this to like NFL level, imagine a team like the Bears playing in soggy weather, then going to Minnesota and playing in a dome where they can really use all their talents.
Right.
I think that playing out in the heat, we're used to it, so we can function way better in the heat. Then when we go out there with the lower temperatures, I think we'll be just fine.
All right.
70, 60, 70 degree weather.
Now being said, we're going to high desert, or I think it's high desert, something like that. It's Arizona. Yay. Either they share the same weather as we do,
But it's even hotter.
or it's hotter.
Yeah.
So that being a factor, I feel like that's going to be a huge challenge for us. Because yeah, we're used to it here, but when we go over there,
It's a different story.
it's a different ballgame. Yeah. So I feel like maybe Phoenix has a huge advantage over every team in this league because they've dealt with the heat, they've dealt with the turf, they've dealt with the oceans, all the waters, everything that you could think of, they've dealt with it with 10 people. This was with 10 people.
Wow.
10 people on the roster. All of them play both ways. Now, if they got an injury and it's 8 people, they still win games. That's what gets me. We could have the biggest roster, but if we don't have everything down when it comes to climate change, heat, how hot it could get, how cold it could get,
Rain.
the rain, snow, whatever, like hardly rains or snows here. But if it did, we can't have people saying, "Oh, it's snowing."
I can't come
kill
play.
us.
I think,
Snowing.
I don't know about you guys, but I've always dreamed about playing in the snow.
Snow?
Yeah,
I've always dreamed about playing in the snow.
I've
Never
actually
got a
played in
chance.
the snow. It was actually pretty fun, to be honest. So
See,
I don't want to get fact checked right now, but what I've heard down where they're at is heat warnings could get up to 121, 122 degree weather.
I mean, we've gotten that hot heat before. So.
I don't know if they still play in it, but if they do play in it, how would you guys feel about playing in that type of climate?
Having a helmet on and then a pad,
Yeah,
that
Oh,
pads.
man, it raises it.
It's
It's
gonna
hot,
raise it to
Especially
at
if
least.
it's turf.
Yeah, and the turf. You have to factor in the heat of the turf.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we'll be in like 140.
it'll be like
degrees.
140
Yeah.
degrees with all their stuff on,
Yeah.
plus the turf.
All right, so moving on. Right now, you can find our games on Instagram, Facebook, or the Super 8 website, super8.com. I believe that's the little website. Facebook, you can find us at Pro-Bawlers and Pro-Bawlers Elite. And then on Instagram, you can find us at Las Vegas Pro-Bawlers. We'll be right back. We're going to take a small break. See you in a bit.